If you're just getting started as a filmmaker, one of the biggest blocks to your creativity is not having the right gear at the right time. One of the most overlooked pieces of gear, in my opinion, are lights. It's very expensive. You need a lot of them. What about the biggest natural light source we have, which is the sun? How can we utilize that, get some beautiful shots for free? Let's talk about it. When Roger Deakins considers how to light a scene, he asks himself, how do I want the audience to feel?
To really understand light and be able to light, you have to understand how it makes you feel.
So let's use that as a framework for this discussion. In this video, I'm going to share with you everything I learned from the last few days, last few weeks of shooting only in natural light. I've compiled a list of things that might be helpful to you. So this entire video is being shot with natural light, even the light coming in, hitting me on the face. My key is a natural light from my window. I personally don't own a lot of lights myself, aside from a few quasars and some LED panels I bought when I was in high school. You don't need massive lights for every single project. I woke up early one morning and saw the sunrise coming through the bathroom window. I loved how it looked, so I grabbed my camera, ran in there and grabbed some test shots of myself. That short film is now on my channel. It's called Loss. It's about my grandfather passing away late last year.
I know the Lord Jesus loves us both, and we have His fellowship wherever we are, whether we're far apart or whether we're close together.
It was cool being able to process that through the footage. I had a nice cry and all that stuff. That footage never meant to be that necessarily. It was just supposed to be some test shots for this. So I'm going to be breaking that down a little bit and showing and explaining why and how I chose to make certain decisions in that project. If you're planning on using a particular location for a shoot, go visit that location at many different times of the day. Simply the sun coming in at a different time, at a different angle, can completely change the look of the scene. Look for reflections, look for shadows, look for the way the light bounces off of particular objects, look how the shadows fall coming toward you, coming away from you. Where's your eye directed to? Do the shadows create lines directed toward the part of frame that I want? Are my faces going to be lit properly for the scene based on where the sun is coming down through the trees? Sometimes the shot that offers the right emotion for what you're trying to go for in your scene only occurs at a certain time of day. So make sure you know precisely when that moment is going to happen. That way, once you get there, you'll be able to walk away with a shot that you set out to get. To illustrate this is me opening my blinds at 7 a.m. You can see that the light coming from the sun is warmer, while the light coming from the sky is much, much cooler. I'm sure you've heard of golden hour, and that is the hour after the sun has come across the horizon. It's a great way to get warm, natural looking shots that look great on skin tones. And the second time is blue hour, and that's the hour leading up to sunrise and the hour after the sun has gone down. This shot was captured at 1:30 p.m. and this one was at 7 a.m. The color drastically shifts based on the time. So yes, you can shift your white balance to make things look warmer and other things look cooler and vice versa, but it's nice to know what color light is coming from your source at what time of day. One of the biggest problems you can face when using natural light is harsh shadows being created on your face by the sun. So blue hour and golden hour completely change that. They add a natural looking light to your face, making faces obviously look a lot more pleasant. And that's what we want at the end of the day. There are a lot of different kinds of diffusion, but my go-to in situations where I'm at home just shooting something is a bed sheet. You can spend no more than $10 on. Now, if I'm on a set and I'm supposed to look professional, I'm obviously gonna try to rent out something that is more commonly used in the film industry, such as Opal or Frost or one of the many numerous numbered ones. But if you're trying to diffuse light cheaply, just throw up the bed sheet and see how it looks. So the way the light was hitting my face in this shot gives off a certain feeling. It looks pretty cool, but I want to see what it looks like when I diffuse the light so it's not a distraction. I don't own any expensive piece of diffusion, So I'm just gonna pop up that bed sheet and see how it looks. Looks pretty good. So this is a perfect illustration of what is going on with natural light. Since I am using window light, the light keeps changing and the clouds are moving in. It's getting darker because the storm is rolling in. So if you're planning on using natural light, make sure you plan the crap out of your shoot, because it can be really frustrating when your lighting changes or it changes color or the sun comes out. Make sure you're ready for the day. This is why this is not always the best option as well. If you're having trouble creating a soft look, a soft source on your subject, make your light as big as possible. The biggest light source that exists is the sun, so we're covered. Bigger and closer sources mean that your shadows will be softer. So if you're looking for that nice roll off and a softer look, a bigger source is the way to go. A great way to add contrast to a shot and to a face is to add negative fill. Not only because it adds shape and definition, but it helps the light to not be nearly as flat on your face. If you listen to Wandering DP, if you've been on any film sets, you've probably heard someone say the word neg. And adding negative fill basically brings down the levels of the shadow sides of faces, adds contrast to faces, makes sure the light isn't scattered all throughout the room. So not only does it direct light, but it also cuts down the levels of light. So instead of having just like a flat light on my face, since my room is acting as my negative fill, the light coming in from my source isn't making my face look super flat. So I have a shadow on this side because my room is acting as the negative fill. If you shoot with your source away from camera, if you shoot toward your source light and put your subject in, you'll have shadows cast toward camera, which looks great. It adds contrast toward camera to give your subject some shape to their face. It also adds a nice rim around your subject, basically taking them away from blending straight into the background. But in the end, always consider what would work best for your scene and how you want the audience to perceive your character once they watch your film. If you like the way the light is coming into a particular room, but it's just not falling on your subject right, feel free to move furniture around until you get it exactly how you want it. I think the biggest thing that I think of is watching anime art style films like Akira and some of the Miyazaki films. After I finish one of those movies, I naturally look at the way that light is falling off of things or the shadows coming toward me. Just the way that they do it in those films is so particular, it's so specific. They have full control, but that doesn't mean that you don't have control. You also do. And that is simply by moving things around in your space, just like they do in illustrated films. If it's not right, wait until it's right. And if it's still not right, move a bunch of stuff around until it is. Shooting with natural light can be extremely forgiving on low pressure shoots, but if you're shooting professionally, you have to know. You have to know what is going on in the scene. Make sure that every minute that you spend while shooting out during golden hour on that expensive shoot is spent bringing home the footage that you actually want, instead of burning away the day and wasting a lot of money and disappointing a lot of people. It's really tough. Make sure you're ready for it. Fix it in pre. This is by an artist called Vienna Pitts. We've heard fix it in post, not the best option, but if you go in ready, then you're gonna walk away with what you needed. Let's do more of that. You know what I mean? I know I could do a better job at that for sure. If you're shooting a project and you realize that for the story, what suits the best is shooting with natural light, highly recommend. By all means, absolutely 100% go for it. If it works for the story, thumbs up. If it doesn't work for the story, sorry. we gotta change how we're doing it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. That basically helps the channel because it tells YouTube that the video doesn't suck. So thank you very much. And this place is a place of learning cinematography and feeling things deeply. And I hope you're well out there, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I'll see you next time.